Alright, so just a quick video today, something that has always been very useful to me. I'm fairly cheap sometimes if I can get away without buying a certain tool, or if I know I can do something without spending any extra money, I tend to do that, and I think a lot of people are that way. So today, this video is all about saving money and budget precision. So first off, what we're going to do is, this is my old Remington 783. I rarely shoot this rifle. This was the very first rifle that I ever did any sort of long-range shooting with. Still really enjoy it every time I do get to shoot it, or every time I do bring it out to shoot. But it's nothing special. It's just a plain old budget hunting, complete budget hunting setup. I have many videos shooting this thing out to crazy distances. I think the furthest is like 1,520 yards with a cold bore impact on an IPSC. But it is nothing special. Definitely nothing like any of my other rigs that are, you know, built up precision rifles. But I want to do two things with this video. First off, I'm starting a new series, or well, not really a series, just kind of a three-part probably video series, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, depending on how it all goes, but showing that you can take just your plain Jane budget hunting rifle and do long-range precision shooting with it. Is it the perfect platform for that type of setup, or for that type of shooting? Absolutely not. But can it be done? And if you have just a plain Jane budget hunting rifle, a Remington 783, a Savage Axis, anything like that, can you do long-range precision shooting with it? Absolutely. So that's what we're going to do with this. So first off, just to start, I have absolutely shot this rifle, like I said, plenty of distance, so I know that it is capable with this rifle. But when my primary load that I shot in this rifle was a 178 grain Hornady match bullet, the just regular old boat-tailed hollow point match bullet. It always shot fantastically. I had a really good load worked up. The thing shot just over half a minute pretty consistently. But to do this, I wanted to start out something that I have never shot before in this rifle. So I picked up some of these 180 grain, just the regular old 180 Sierra Match King 30 cal 180 Match Kings, and we're gonna start by just finding out where our lands are. So because I'm starting out with a bullet that I've never shot before, anytime that if you're a reloader, and this video and this whole series is going to be primarily based towards reloaders, because you have to be a reloader to really get the most precision out of a budget rifle like this. So anytime you start off, no matter if it's your precision rig or just your budget rifle, to get the best load, you really need to know where your lands and grooves are in relation to your bullet when it's seated in the case. So most of the time Hornady makes I think it's called like the Hornady lock and load overall length gauge, and that works great. It's a tool that you can absolutely measure, find your freebore to your lands and grooves by using their tool, but it's about $35. I have been reloading for many years, going on about 9 years now, and I have never bought that tool, and there has never been a bullet that I have loaded that I have not known exactly where my lands and grooves are. So today, first off, we're going to go through how I go about finding my lands and grooves. So I usually like to do two cases. So whatever case that you plan on using for your hand loads, take two of those cases and put your regular sizing die in your press and run the case in just to the point where you feel the neck of the case just barely starting to be sized. You want to literally get just the tip. So when you feel the very end of that case go into the sizing die, you want to barely put any sort of size on the neck of that case. And what that does is make just enough of a crimp on there, basically, to make it so that you can take a bullet, still push it in with your hands, but be extremely tight. And that's what you want. You want it to be tight, but you still want to be able to push it in with your hands. So like I said, we're going to do 2 of these. This is what I normally do, and we may have to go through this 3 or 4 times to get it right. The things that you're going to need for this, you won't have to buy the Hornady lock and load overall length gauge, but if you're reloading, and if you're wanting to know where your lands and grooves are, you're going to have some sort of comparator gauge. This is the Hornady comparator gauge. I think there's another company that makes one, but this is an essential if you reload. So take your comparator gauge. That's going to be the one thing you need. You're going to need, doesn't matter what color, just a dry erase marker and a cleaning rod of some sort with no jag on it. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to insert the cleaning rod in the end. Like I said, no jag. Going to be very careful not to rub up against anything. Going to go nice and slow. And we'll turn this around so that you guys can see. So, cleaning rod just inserted. That's all it needs to be. Doesn't need to be, just needs to be there. And the only reason for that is sometimes the bullet gets stuck into the lands. You pull out, you just have a case, and to get the bullet out, the cleaning rod helps. And this is the reason, for that exact reason, is the reason that we need a black or whatever color dry erase marker. So this bullet is barely inserted. So as you can see here, there is a very small amount of this bullet inserted into the case, just barely inside the neck there. So the bullet's inside the neck, just barely inside the neck. I'm going to take my black or whatever color dry erase marker, and I'm going to completely color in pretty much the entire bearing surface of this bullet, or the flat part of the bullet. The part of the bullet, bearing surface, is the part of the bullet that is inserted into the neck. I'm gonna stick my bullet in here, case, bullet, everything. I'm gonna pull this out so it doesn't interfere. And I'm going to close the bolt, allowing my lands and grooves to seat the bullet all the way back into the case. So that bullet was seated by the lands and grooves. Okay, so a lot of times you pull out the magazine and got pretty lucky on that one. The bullet didn't stick. Depending on, like, a lot of my match barrels, they just have really sharp lands and grooves, and it will absolutely grab a hold of that bullet. For this, we may not even need the cleaning rod, but it's there in case we do. So now we're going to take, and we don't want to push real hard, but we want to measure with our comparator gauge, zero it out with the comparator gauge, and then we're going to measure where this is the 30 caliber bullet comparator stem here, and we're going to measure where our lands and grooves hit the bullet, hit the ogive of the bullet. So this is 2.374, 0.375, and now we're going to do that again. So we got 2.375. So we're going to take this, and what we're looking for is complete consistency here. So I'm using the same exact case. Haven't even pulled my other one out yet. Going to, once again, just barely seat. And this brass is somewhat elastic, so the good thing about that is once you pull that bullet out, usually the neck is still tight enough to continually do this. And you're looking for, I try to get 3 consistent measurements in a row. And then once I get my 3 consistent measurements, I'm going to go back and I'm going to try it with the other case and see if I get the same measurement. If I do, I know I have a good reading for my lands and grooves. So we've colored in the bearing surface again. close the bolt and let the lands and grooves seat the bullet in the case. Once again, bullet came free. And like I said, with an inexpensive barrel like this one, a lot of times the rifling is not sharp enough to really grab the case. Now you will see marks that I'll take a picture and show you, usually in the bullet, just tiny little marks where those lands are jabbing into your bullet. So this one, 2.38. So that is 5/1000ths difference from our very first measurement. Now what could have happened there is the bullet stuck a little bit, and as we pulled out, it pulled 5/1000ths out. We're going to take two more measurements. So far, we've got a 2.375 and a 2.380. We're going to pull this back out. Now, the whole reason for the marker the whole reason I use the marker is in case the bullet does stick in the case and I need to take my cleaning rod and punch the bullet out, then I have a perfect ring around the actual bullet where it stopped in the case. So then I can just seat that bullet back down to that ring, take that measurement, and do that a couple of times, and that'll tell you exactly it's the same setup. So, but in case you don't, if it doesn't stick, you don't really need this, but I still do it anyway. .380, the exact same measurement two times in a row. So that first one could have been a fluke. There could have been carbon or something in the barrel that caused 5/1000ths variance. We're going to do this one more time. If we get the same measurement, we're going to do it once with our second set. .380. So that is three measurements in a row at 2.380. That tells me that that is the measurement for our lands and grooves. So say if we're going to try to jump, normally the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set this bullet at 15/1000ths jump, and that's the first load that I'm going to try. So that gives us, we're going to seat our bullet 15/1000ths deeper than 2.380. So that will be the very first place that I set my bullet at for jump, and that is the way to find out where your lands and grooves are. Now, like I said, we've got one more case here, completely different bullet, completely different case. This one's a little looser case, so it actually may bring the bullet out. We'll find out here. Gonna color it in. .380. That is the measurement to our lands and grooves. That first one, like I said, could have been many different things, could have been a fluke, but that is without a doubt, that's four measurements in a row, the exact same. That is how you go about finding exactly where your lands and grooves are, exactly where your lands are, so you can determine your freebore jump without spending $35 on the Hornady tool. I've been doing this for years, and it works flawlessly. I've never had an issue with it. It works every time. Now, just like I was telling you, this is something, if the bullet was to pull itself out of the case, if it gets caught in your lands and grooves, you can pull the bullet out. If the bullet gets pulled out, you see it now has a nice little ring all the way around the bullet to tell you exactly where you need to push that bullet back into and take your measurement. It's not as precise as if the bullet stays in the case every time, but it is a way to do it that in case the bullet does get pulled out, that is what the black marker is for. So there you go. That's how you find exactly where your lands and grooves are to determine your freebore jump, your freebore in your rifle, and you'll need to do this for every single new bullet that you decide to shoot in a rifle. So there you go. Be looking out for taking the old Remington 783 out to distance here real soon. When I first started shooting long range, I was posting videos with this on Instagram pretty regularly, and I was getting made fun of left and right. I was called a liar more times than I can count, that, oh, there's no way you're shooting 1,000 yards or 1,200 yards or whatever it was at the time with this rifle, and I assure you I was. It's what I had, it's what I could afford at the time, and it absolutely did it, and I absolutely did it with this rifle, and did it quite well. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this rifle, hopefully this bullet, if this bullet shoots as good as I hope it does, we're going to work up a load, shoot it at 100 yards, and we're going to take it out to distance. So be looking out for that. I hope this was helpful to you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.